So, good morning, all. Am I audible clearly now? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, we are going to start next unit, that is mechanical springs, or you can say design of springs. In this unit, basically, what topics we need to cover is types, applications, and materials for spring. Then, stress and deflection equation for helical compression spring. Then, types of ends of spring, design of helical compression and tension spring. When springs in series and springs in parallel, is basic combination, force and deflection equations. Then we'll talk about concentric helical spring, then surge in spring, and design of multi-leaf spring, and last helical torsion spring, which is for only theoretical treatment. These are the topics that we need to cover in spring chapter. So I hope all of you heard and seen about spring, what basically spring is. So what is spring? Can you define spring? Yes, anyone? See, you are going to design spring now. So before we design of spring, you must know what basically spring is, and it is known to you. So just tell me what you understand, what is known to you about spring. Yes. No one don't know about spring. Hello. Have you seen spring or not? Am I audible? If yes, please reply.
Yes,
Ashraf. Yes. What do you mean by spring? What you understand by spring?
so when we apply of external force on the spring, and after removing the load, it regains its original size and shape.
Okay, that's what. Any other about spring? Anyone other? Others don't know about spring. You're not seen spring, or you don't want to speak. Okay, then we'll continue. So basically, it is known to you what spring is. Spring is a flexible machine element, basically, or you can say elastic element, and used primarily to deflect under load. So when your load is applied, it will deflect under the load with ability. It's important. It is not does not only deflect, but it is having ability to return to its original shape when unloaded. So when force is applied on a spring, it will deflect, while when force is unloaded or when force is removed, it will regain its original shape. So we can say spring is an elastic body or elastic machine which deflect under the action of load and recovers its original shape when load is removed. Now springs are designed to provide a push, pull as well as a torque. We know basically springs are used, it's in application when we talk about springs are used to store energy, to measure a force, or to observe shocks and vibration. Now at least tell me, when I say springs are used to store energy, tell any more application where you seen springs are used to store energy. Yes. Have you seen anywhere spring is used to store energy? See why it is important, because if you understand basic, actually it is known to you. Everything is known to you. Just we are going to design the spring, and if you are going to design the spring, you must know applications, where it is used, how it is used, and why it should be it is used. So please tell me when the application where spring is used to store energy.
Watch.
Yes. Or where it is used? Anyone?
Old
Sir,
watch.
clutch, clutch.
Okay, watches. Watches, or we can say clocks. Okay. Uh, yes. Any other application where spring is used to store energy? You might
Clutch,
use it. Yes.
clutch, sir.
Clutch. Yes, it's store energy, but it also used to apply the force. Na? In case of clutch, force is applied.
In dampers or shock absorbers.
See, basically, if you seen here, I classified the springs application into three types. One is used to store energy, then to measure the force, and to absorb and shocks and vibrations. So whatever we are talking about is in dampers or in vehicles, springs are used to absorb the shock. Yes or no?
Yes.
So when I ask you when where the springs are used to absorb shocks and vibrations, application is
So can you please repeat?
I think is there an echo? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible, but
Echo
actually,
is coming
नाही
to
सर
my
मला
side.
नाही येते इको.
नाही येते का? Okay. Basically, what I asked, what is application of where springs are used to absorb shocks and vibrations? Any application?
Sir, in vehicles, as well as in engine mounts and all, where vibrations has to be absorbed. Uh, yeah, basically the main application to absorb shocks is in vehicles only.
Yes, right. Okay. So basically, we seen Devang, please mute. Okay. So basically, in vehicles, we seen springs are used to absorb shocks and vibrations. Okay. Then tell me application where springs are used to measure a force. See why I'm asking
Weighing
you.
scales and all.
Yes, please.
Spring balance, weighing scales.
Yes. Uh, right. Have you seen any of springs in theory of machine lab? I hope you didn't studied Tom 1, Tom 2, but no, for your syllabus it was COM, na? Kinematics of machinery, I think. Have you studied Tom 1, theory of machine 1? Hello? I think in your syllabus only kinematics of machinery, na? Or you studied Tom 1, Tom 2?
Sir,
Hello? COM, okay. But it was in lockdown. But I hope you visited Tom lab. Have you seen anywhere the application of springs in machines or in equipments we used? Have you seen dynamometer apparatus? Or we did practical of epicyclic gear train. Have you seen that apparatus? Yes or no? Just wait, I'll show you now. Okay. Is it visible to you? Just click to my camera. Are they visible or not?
Yes.
Okay. You can see this is a rope brake dynamometer. And can you tell me any spring application here? Any spring is used here? This is dynamometer used to measure the torque. Can you see any spring? Or how we measure this? In the rope brake dynamometer, these two balances are used to get the spring balance. I mean, the spring balance are used to get the torque. Difference of two side tensions. So, is spring is used here? Same in the friction clutch apparatus, we can see here. As well as we can see, this is epicyclic gear train apparatus. So, whatever I shown you, it all consists of springs, and all the springs are used to measure the force. Yes or no? Are you getting what I'm saying? Hello? I'm just showing you application of spring to measure the force. Now I'll show you another application. Okay. This is cam follower apparatus, cam and follower apparatus. And one spring is used here. You can see, is it visible to you? Hello? Is it visible to you? The spring, the
Yes,
cam
sir.
follower setup. Okay. So can anyone tell me what is purpose of the spring here? This spring I'm saying. You know cam follower, how it works. If I rotate this cam, okay, let's say I'm rotating it. You can see when I'm rotating this cam, this follower moves. So what is purpose of the spring in this case?
Sir, remain a follower in contact with cam.
So means what exactly it is doing? What the spring is doing? Yes.
Push.
To apply push or pull. So I told you, if you see in the slides now, just focus on slides now. What I told you, springs are designed to provide push, pull, or a torque. I told you they are designed to store energy. Example, yes.
Gun.
Okay, toys, we can say, clocks, yes or no? In toys, you use that key to, we are using that key to store the energy. When that key is released, that toy starts playing, yes or no? Have you seen that toys? I hope you played with toys.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in that case, we are using spring to store the energy. Then to measure the force, I told you, I shown you some applications of how the spring is used to measure the force, yes or no? And last one, to observe shocks and vibrations. And this is most popular application of spring, where it is used in two-wheelers, in four-wheelers. Have you seen springs in shocks to observe the shocks and vibrations? I hope so, all of you. Means a spring is a popular application, and all of you seen that spring. Now just we need to focus technical details of spring, how spring should be designed. This is all about basics of spring. Any doubt in this? Whatever we discuss? Okay, spring materials. We'll talk about the spring material later on. So important applications and functions I told you. Springs are used to absorb the shocks and vibration, to store the energy, to measure the force, and to apply the force and control the motion. Just we seen the last in cam and follower. Springs are used to apply the force and to control the motion, to measure the force, store the energy, and to observe shocks and vibrations. That is some widely used applications of the spring. There are some diagrams where springs are used. There are types of springs are shown. Now tell me which types of springs known to you? Yes. By looking this picture also you can tell me. There are different types of springs.
Helical.
Yes. Helical spring, okay. Which one is this one?
Lip spring.
Lip spring, okay. All these are helical springs, and you can see this one is where it is used. I hope it is known to you. This one. What is this basically? This animation.
Sir, MacPherson strut
Mac
type.
strut. Okay. Wishbone type. Okay, this is called wishbone type suspension, and this was used in two-wheelers. You can see there are different applications of springs. There are some concentric springs are shown here. Okay, this is lip spring, and these are the helical springs. This one and this one. Okay. Now, when you talk about types of springs, helical springs are most widely used springs, and these helical springs are classified in two types. One is helical compression spring, this A, and second one is helical tension, or you can say extension spring. So compression spring is first one, and second one is extension spring. Now by looking to this diagram, you can see why the name is, both are helical springs, why the name is compression and why the name is helical. You can see when the spring is undergoes action of compressive force. When the compressive force is applied, initially it is having free length. You can say this one is free length, but when compressive force is applied, the spring get compressed, and hence based on the total spring motion, the spring is called as a helical compression spring, as it is subject to compressive force. And opposite here, generally in the initial case, these wires are in close contact with each other. There is no gap between the wires initially. But whenever the force is applied from this side and from this side, it is whenever extension force is applied, the springs undergo tension, undergo extension, and the spring will deflect. So this gap will then there will be no gap. That means initially there is no gap, but when extension force is applied, there will be gap between the wires like this. So the first one is a compression spring, and second one is a extension spring. Difference is clear between these two. Helical compression spring, helical extension spring. Difference is clear? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone can tell me what is the difference between these two? What you understand? It's very simple. Only difference in main difference between the forces is compression force is the acting force here, and here in this case extension force is applied. But what about initial case? Yes, please. Anyone? Tell me what you understand. Yes, Suraj. Suraj, you don't understand this?
सर इनिशियली टेन्शन हेलिकल स्प्रिंग मध्ये सर फुल टाइप फोर्स अप्लाय केला जातो
In which spring? Extension spring. Okay.
आणि अपोजिट कॉम्प्रेशन स्प्रिंग
Yes. Okay. Along with this helical compression and extension spring, one more spring is there called as a tension helical spring. Okay, we can say in this tension helical spring is similar to here. It is this one, and this one is a compression. Along with this, there is one more spring called as a torsion spring. Okay, I think it is shown here. Okay. So next one, there are some different types of springs like helical, conical springs, volute spring, based on the shape of the springs. This one is helical torsion spring, which is also one of the most widely used spring. And I hope you've seen this spring in one application, some applications. And this one is a spiral torsion spring. So can anyone tell me application of these two spring at least? Helical torsion spring and helical spiral torsion spring. Torsion spring पाहिली का? Anyone? And where?
सर स्पायरल टॉर्शन स्प्रिंग टॉयज मध्ये यूज करतात स्टोर करण्यासाठी
Okay. Any particular application I'm asking? These two, these are widely used. You might seen at many places.
Sir, helical torsion spring is used in gym for fixing the weights
Okay, fixing the weights.
to the bar.
Where it is at the end?
Yes, yes, at the end.
Hello.
At the end, sir.
Okay. Okay. Any other application? This is used at many places. You need to see. See, I'm not cloth pins. Cloth pins. Okay, cloth pins. That's pin you are talking about. Okay. Yes. Any other? Have you seen door hinges? In door hinges, which type of springs are used? In also in locks of door locks. Some springs are coming. Have you seen that spring? Which spring it is? See, you are going to become engineer. You are going to design the spring, but you must know application where it is used, and based on that you can think about that. So before going for theory, I just want to highlight where it basically for every topic. When you start shaft, quarter, knuckle, you must know its applications, and then you can think about it, because design is given in every book. You must get that idea how to design, where to design. That is important. Where it should be applicable. So anyone tell me another application of helical torsion and spiral spring, if known to you? माहिती आहे का? पाहिलंय कुठं? Just think about that. No? Okay, I'll ask you tomorrow. Just search about this. In next lecture, we'll talk about application of these two springs. And this is widely used spring, called as the leaf spring. Have you seen? I hope all of you seen this. Yes? Leaf spring application. Anyone?
सर हेवी ड्यूटी व्हेकल ट्रक्स
Okay. Yes, heavy duty vehicles or loaded vehicles. In trucks, basically, you've seen this. Trucks, tempos, okay. Now, there are some important terminology of spring that we need to discuss. And if you see in this in these three diagrams properly, this one is a spring which is in a free condition, means whenever there is no load applied on the spring, it is a first condition or the first case diagram shows when there is no force applied on a spring. In second case, some force called as W is applied on a spring and a spring is in compressed condition. But in third case, the spring is completely compressed, means we can see the wires of the spring and there is no gap between the springs. You can see there is zero gap, you can see no gap. So when this condition is reached, when the spring is in its having zero gap, no gap between the wires, then that length of the spring is called as a solid length. So you can say denoted by LS, or you can say compressed solid length. Now this is the condition when maximum load is applied on the spring. So this is the initial condition when there is no load, when no load on the spring, when maximum load applied on the spring, this is compressed length. You can see under the maximum load condition, spring will deplete this. This is delta max. Maximum depletion is delta max. And you can see even though load applied is maximum, but there is still some gap between the wires. So in maximum, whenever maximum force is applied on the spring, there should be some gap. It is not in solid length, but having some compressed length. So there is difference between compressed length and solid length. In compressed length, there is no gap between the wires, but in case of, in compressed solid length, in solid length, there is no gap between the wires, but in case of a compressed length, there is some gap between the wires. And this compressed length is under the action of maximum deflection, under the action of maximum force. When maximum force is applied on the spring, it undergoes maximum deflection and the spring is said to be in a compressed length. Now, what is the relation between this compressed length and free length? Can anyone tell me? Let's say LF is the free length and let's say LC is the compressed length. What is the relation between free length and compressed length? Yes. Yes, please. Relation between free length and compressed length. Yes. Can you observe and tell me? It's very easy. You can see this one. This one is a free length. So let's say this one is LF. Free length is LF. And this one is your compressed length. Let's say it is LC. So what is relation between LF and LC? So LF is equal to what we can write? Yes. Anyone? LF is equal to LC plus what?
So distance between two helical.
Yes, please.
Sir, gap in between two.
So that gap is nothing but delta max. Yes or no? This one is delta max. So we can say this one plus this is nothing but your free length. So LF is equal to compressed length, that is LC, plus delta. You can say delta max. Now, how we can write this relation in terms of solid length now? Instead of LC, okay, delta max is okay. So LF is equal to delta max at this delta max plus LC. But how I write LC in terms of solid length? Can anyone observe and tell me the relation between this? So I'm writing relation between LC and LS. This difference I want. How much this one is? Yes, please, anyone tell me? So LC is equal to LS plus what? Solid length plus what? How much this gap is? Observe and tell me. Yes. Can anyone tell me gap? You can observe what is the difference between these two. In this case, there is no axial. In this case, there is gap between the wires. So this one you can say this is gap. This one between the two wires. Each wire is having some gap between the, means between two wires, there is some gap. And when this gap is removed, this is solid length. So I can say compressed length is equal to solid length plus total axial gap. So you can see this one. This one is gap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So if I add this all gaps, it is the total axial gaps. So LS plus gap, you can say axial gap. So total axial gap, you can say total gap. I'm writing TG. Okay. And generally remember this total axial gap is taken as 15% of maximum deflection. So I can write LF as, you can see now this LC, we write in terms of this. Now LS as it is LS plus this delta max, I'm writing delta M, plus this gap, but this gap is taken as 15%, means 0.15 of maximum deflection. So 0.15 of delta M, and hence we can write relationship between LF and LS as LF is equal to, I'm writing here it is LF is equal to, yes it is LS plus delta M plus 0.15 delta M, 0.15 plus 1, so how much it is 1.15 delta M. So we can write the relationship between free length, solid length and compressed length. Is it clear? These relationships and three lengths. First one is solid length, another one is compressed length, and last one is free length. So solid length is when there is no gap between the wires. Compressed length when there is gap between the wires, but under the action of maximum force, maximum deflection. And free length when there is no force. The relationship between them, LF is equal to compressed length plus delta max. But compressed length is equal to LS plus gap. And how much the gap is? 0.15 times delta M. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Others, is it clear? Relationships between LF, LC and LS. Yes, Ameya Mahamuni. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Please tell me relationship between LF and LS. Ameya, LF and LS.
Sir, plus delta M. LF is equal to LS plus delta.
There is some echo, 1 minute. Yes, Amey.
So LF is equal to LS plus delta M. The difference between the
There is some issue from your side. You can write in chat box. Anyone other? I hope I understand this. Very simple but important for design purpose. I told you there is solid length when there is no gap between the wires. Compressed length when there is gap between the wires under the condition of maximum force. And the deflection at that time is maximum deflection. And when there is no load, it will be a free length. Clear? I hope. Any doubt in this?
no, sir.
Okay. Now, there are some important terms that we are repeatedly used in spring design. That terminology we will discuss. That one is, first one is, I told you solid length, free length, compressed length. Okay. Wire diameters. So, capital D is the mean wire diameter. Capital D is mean wire diameter. So, I'll show you some diagram in detail. Okay, you can see now. So, generally there is two diameters, basically DO and DI. So, DO is outside diameter of the wire. DO is outside diameter of the wire. And DI is the inside diameter of the wire. You can say this one. So, instead of considering DO and DI, that is wire diameter, sorry, not wire diameter, these are the mean coil diameters. Sorry, these are the coil diameters, not wire diameters. So, DO and DI are the outside diameter of the coil and DI is the inside diameter of the coil. Instead of this, we use mean coil diameter, that is D. And you know, if it is mean diameter, then D is equal to S. It should be mean of that two. That is DO.
Upon 2.
Yes, DO plus DI upon 2. So I told you two terms. One is outside diameter, inside diameter, and from these two, we can find wire diameter. The mean coil, not wire diameter, mean coil diameter. So D is a mean coil diameter. I told you important term. Mean coil diameter denoted by capital D. It's nothing but a mean of outside and inside diameter. I hope clear. Okay, so this is one is D. I shown you here. D is a coil diameter, mean coil diameter. Now, small d is nothing but a wire diameter. There are different wires. Okay, so D is a wire diameter. So small d is a wire diameter and capital D is a coil diameter. So based on this, there is one important term called as a spring index used for spring design, and spring index denoted by capital C, and capital C is equal to capital D. What is D? What is capital D? Yes. What is capital D? I just told you.
Sir, main coil diameter.
It is mean coil diameter. Okay, and D is a wire diameter. So this is coil diameter. And this one is a wire diameter. Small d is a wire diameter. You can see here. This one is a wire diameter. Sorry. Yes, this one you can say. This one is a wire diameter, and this D is a coil diameter. And spring index is C, which is nothing but ratio of coil diameter to wire diameter. So spring index is the ratio of mean coil diameter to wire diameter. Okay, and generally its range of this one is for proper design, basic design, it is used in the range of 4 to 12. But for preferred steel, most preferred steel, springs, it is in the range of 6 to 9. So 4 to 12 or 6 to 9 is the most preferred range of the spring diameter based on some conditions. Because if spring index is low, very low, then there are stresses in wire due to curvature effect. While if spring index is greater than 15, then it results in large variations in coil diameter. So it should not be less than 3, it should not be greater than 15. So generally the preferred range is 4 to 12. In more particular, if you use, it is to avoid curvature effects and all, it is used in the range of, means just for the, we can say, if you use 6 to 9, then for a greater tolerances, for close tolerance springs, those are used for cyclic loading, the range used is 6 to 9. So these are the ranges of the spring index, that is C. I told you what is spring index. It is nothing but capital D upon small d. What is D is nothing but coil diameter to the wire diameter. Then P is the axial pitch, and you know how to define pitch. What is pitch? We define in terms of, in case of gears. What is pitch? Same concept used here. Pitch is nothing but, yes, P.
Sir, distance between two adjacent point of the per year spring point.
In this, you can say, yes, two adjacent points on a spring wires. So we can say, if you consider this half point of this wire, then again I consider same. In case of gears, we seen, in case of gears, when like this, we seen, this one is a pitch, yes or no? Distance between corresponding teeth. Distance between corresponding points or adjacent teeth. In the same here, distance between corresponding points on a adjacent wires is called as a pitch in this case. Clear? So I told you pitch, coil diameter, wire diameter, spring index, free length, compressed solid length, maximum deflection, relationship between LF and LC. Nothing but LF is equal to LC plus maximum deflection. Then LF is equal to LS plus axial gap plus maximum deflection. Likewise, I told you different relationship between helical spring, different positions like free length, compressed length, and solid length. I hope it is clear to all. Different terms of springs are clear, terminologies are clear. Any doubt?
Sir,
One more term. Yes.
कॉम्प्रेस सॉलिड मध्ये मॅक्सिमम फोर्स अप्लाय होईल ना, कारण का तिथे मॅक्सिमम डिफ्लेक्शन आहे.
No. See, generally in working condition, if it spring should not be in compressed solid length. ही अशी नसणार आहे, समजते का? पूर्ण फोर्स अप्लाय केल्यानंतर स्प्रिंग सॉलिड लेंथ गेली नाही पाहिजे. मीन्स इट इज फेल्युअर, समजते का?
येस सर.
आपल्याला जेव्हा तू फोर्स अप्लाय करणार वर्किंग कंडिशन मध्ये, देयर मस्ट बी सम गॅप बिटवीन द वायर्स. So while designing, we should take care that under the maximum load condition, there should be some gap. So it should be in compressed length, not in solid length. Understand?
येस सर.
But solid length गेली म्हणजे फेल्युअर झालं ना तुझा.
हो.
So it should be in compressed length. There should be some gap between the wires. to resist the force. And so under the maximum load, it should having LC, not LS. And what is difference between LC and LS? The solid length plus gap. That's what I'm telling you. And then this LC plus maximum deflection is nothing but your free length. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other doubt? Okay, I think I told you most of the terms related to spring. One more term is there called the total coils. Number of coils, nothing but N dash, or you can say N. There is difference. There are two terms basically: active coils and total number of coils. You know difference between these two terms? The terms which are taking part in spring action means which is subjected to force, which will deflect under the force, are called the active coils. But the springs, the coils which are not taking part in spring action. Let's suppose this spring I'm saying. So this is ground end spring. So it is not taking part in a spring action. It will not deflect under spring action. So this spring also. This kind of wires are called the inactive coils. So total number of coils are equal to active coils plus inactive coils. So let's suppose total number of coils is N. It is equal to N dash. It is equal to N dash plus inactive coils. That number is varying based on which type of springs we are using. So based on which type of springs are using, this number is varying. I told you total number of coils is equal to active coils plus some number. Okay. And that number is varying based on types of end conditions. So let's say, I told you all these terms. Yes. So based on end condition, if plane ends are there, then total number of coils, the total number of turns is equal to N. Means number of active coils is equal to total number of turns. Total number of turns. Total number of coils is equal to number of active coils. N is active turns, or you can say active coils. And N dash is total number of turns. So N dash is nothing but total number of turns, and it is equal to N. Here is nothing but active turns plus that number. So in case of plane ends, both are same. In case of ground ends, both are same. But if there are square ends or square and ground ends, then that N dash is equal to N plus 2 in both cases. So remember, in case of square ends and square and ground ends, N dash is equal to total number of turns is equal to active turns plus 2. And this plus 2 stands for what? I just shown you here. The first one on the top side, second one on the bottom side. So there are two coils are there on the top and bottom. That should be added because these are not active turns. So active turns are the remaining one. This active plus these two are nothing but your total number of turns. So total number of turns N dash is equal to N plus 2 for the square and ground ends. Other terms I told you: solid length, free length. Then spring index, I told you spring stiffness, one of the important one. What is spring stiffness? Nothing but load required per unit deflection. So spring stiffness is equal to W upon delta. Here you can say this W upon delta is your stiffness. So spring stiffness is equal to load required per unit deflection. K is equal to W upon delta. W is in Newton and deflection in mm or meter, you can say. So Newton per meter or Newton per mm is your spring stiffness. Okay. That's what about basics of spring, and other terms like springs in series, springs in parallel, how its combination is, that we'll discuss in next lecture. Any doubt till now? If
No,
yes,
sir.
okay. Clear? All terms we'll discuss. So anyone tell me what we discussed today? Yes. So that we'll conclude our lecture. Instead of concluding from my side, anyone tell me topics we discussed today.
What is spring? Then applications of spring. Then types of spring. Then free length, compressed solid length, their relation. Then spring index, mean coil diameter. Then total number of coil, active coil, and last stiffness.
Very nice. Okay. That's what we discussed today. In next lectures, we will continue spring design and related terms. Thank you.